Hello, BookTube. I want to do a bit of a book haul. As some of you know, Steve Donahue is up here visiting, and when he's visiting with the Bean, we hunt for books. So we had a good day yesterday, and I wanted to show you what I got. I think Steve's already done his video. I just got home from work, so let me just get right to it. So we went up to Bridgewater, Vermont. There's a great thrift store there where Bean is always welcome, and they're excited to see her. And Steve and I buy books. So this is some, and we went to Woodstock. The public library there had some books too. So the first thing here I got is a paperback copy of Ursula K. Le Guin, Always Coming Home. I have this in the big copy, but I got this for my daughter. Big fan of Ursula K. Le Guin, so. And then this is Tahanu. This is the last book of the Earthsea, also by Ursula K. Le Guin. Also got this for my daughter because I have that big giant artsy entire Wizard of Earthsea, which I really like. This one's sort of an odd volume. This is Alexei Panshin, a very good writer. This is Mask World. I didn't notice until I got it home because we do this fairly quickly. It has a little cutout. Remember they used to do that with like remaindered CDs and stuff like that? And this is, I have not read this, The Great Trog Chase. A marvel of bureaucratic befuddlement compounded by the appearance of the imposter rivaling Tarv himself for Trogish charm. So I have no idea. It sounds a little weird, but that might be fun. And then also for my daughter, that last one wasn't. I just read that myself. She has no interest, I'm sure. But this one she should. This is Sword of Shannara. It got a little bit of a crease, but it could be a good reading copy for her. So hopefully she enjoys that. Now let's get to some of the other stuff here. I'm trying to adjust the spot here to work. So in one of these penguins, I got Joseph Conrad, The Secret Agent. I like Conrad. I have not read this in ages. So they attempt made in 1894 to blow up the Greenwich Observatory. Conrad created one of his most tense and chilling plots, the world of the secret agent, the world of law and order, fatuous civil servants, and corrupt policemen. It's grotesquely mirrored in its underworld, a squalid terrorist landscape. So a bit of a thriller. And add that to my Conrad books here. Try to find little places. And then this is an Oxford World Classics, Willa Cather, My Antonia. Very well known and beloved book about the Great Plains. So yeah, the settlement of the Tall Grass Prairie, the American Midwest, with its beautiful but terrifying landscape. Rich and ethnic mix of immigrants and native-born Americans. So a classic of American literature, or Oxford is saying of world literature. Then this is a writer I'm going to be revisiting. Glad to find this. I've been picking up stuff by Wallace Stegner, the great American writer of the West. Angle of Repose, one of his more famous works. This is tells the story of Lyman Ward, a retired professor of history and author of books about the Western frontier, who returns to his ancestral home of Grass Valley, California in the Sierra Nevada. Wheelchair-bound with a crippling bone disease and dependent on others for his every need, Ward is nonetheless embarking on a search of monumental proportions to rediscover his grandmother, now long dead, who made her own journey to Grass Valley nearly 100 years earlier. Always wanted to read this, so I'm going to get into some Wallace Stegner coming up here. Then I found another one of these shorter novels, 17th century. This one's edited by Philip Henderson. This is number 841 in the Everyman's Library. Got a few of these older ones. And this is introduced by Philip Henderson. This volume traces the development of the novel at the hands of successively of Emmanuel Ford, Aphra Behn, Henry Neville, and William Congreve. So nice addition to the collection for sure. And then another one of these, this one is Everyman's Library. This is Arthurian Romances, Chrétien de Troyes Arthurian Romances. Glad to have this lovely cover on this. Got to decide whether I want to put it over with French literature where it belongs or just behind me here with all my other Arthurian stuff. Then, this is an interesting book. This is He Wanted the Moon, The Madness and Medical Genius of Dr. Perry Baird and His Daughter's Quest to Know Him by Mimi Baird. This has been optioned to be a movie by Brad Pitt. Mimi spoke at my library a few years ago. Wonderful, wonderful person and wonderful book. We had a huge turnout for this. And one of the better events we've run at the library. And Mimi's name will come up again here. So, yeah, let me give you a little read on this. Dr. Perry Baird, a rising medical star in the 1920s and 30s, presently began to study the biochemical root of manic depression, just as he began to suffer from it himself. By the time the results of his groundbreaking experiments were published, Dr. Baird had been institutionalized multiple times, his medical license revoked, and his family estranged. Really powerful story. So, here you go. And then, those of you who know Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mays, this is her The Discovery of Poetry, a field guide to reading and writing poems. Nice copy. It gives a selection of poems, some ideas of how meter works, that type of thing. I'm trying to find spots to put these things. Then we have In Darwin's Wake, Revisiting Beagle South American Anchorages by John Campbell. This thing is, the author followed some of the Beagle's route around Latin America, South America. This next one is Stephen Jay Gould, Questioning the Millennium, a rationalist guide to a precisely arbitrary countdown, which is what it is, right? And this was at the turn of the millennium. When did this come out? 1997, a few years before. Shorter work. Here's a plate from Blake. Just wanted to have this for a collection. I actually read this when it came out. This is a replacement copy. This is The Art of Fiction by David Lodge. Wonderful book. The articles with which David Lodge entertained and delighted readers of The Independent and the Washington Post book world for 50 weeks between 1991 and 1992 have now been revised, expanded, and collected together in book form. The Art of Fiction is considered under a wide range of headings, such as intrusive author, suspense, and it goes on and on and on. So a lot of examples, like right here is George Eliot, Adam Bede, and then E.M. Forrester. Examples are given, that type of thing. So, very good book. This is a weird way to pile these up. Then another modern library giant to add to my collection. This is G11, The Short Stories of Henry James. This thing's in great condition. This would have it's selected and edited with an introduction by Clifton Fadiman, which make me want it right there. It looks like this edition came out. I would say, looking at this, sort of hard to tell. They have so many dates because of the material. Oh, I can't tell. I have to look at it in more detail because it's not the dates they're showing. Oh, 1945. I found it. So a very good condition. Nice to add to the collection. And the short stories of Henry James. Let me see, where am I going to put this? Then Ian Hamilton's biography of Robert Lowell. So this I have never read. This biography, Ian Hamilton, fairly prolific author. This is the first edition in 1982. And Ian Hamilton was, let's see here, he was, he's the editor of the Review and the New Review at the time. So just Life of the Poet. I'll be glad to give that a read. Oh boy, I'm running out of spots for these. There's a lot of books here. There's like 30 books. Then here we have My Exaggerated Life by Pat Conroy, as told to Catherine Clark, the great writer. I have others of his nonfiction and fiction, and this came out in 2018, so fairly recently, so I'll have to give this a read. I have not read it, but I do enjoy the author. This is a slightly different format with it being something he told someone else. Then another author biography. This is Cheever, A Life by Blake Bailey. A biography you may have heard of recently. But this one belonged to Mimi Baird, who we mentioned earlier with the prior book. So it has her signature inside. This came out, this is not from 2009. A big old section of Cheever photographs. Looking forward to this one for sure. Another one here as I shift around the books. This is Constantine's Sword, The Church and the Jews by James Carroll. James Carroll I know better as the author of the novel Mortal Friends. But this is where he discusses history. I know this book's been around a long time. I'm really looking forward to reading it, but I have not read it. I did discuss it a little bit with Steve. We'll see how it goes. Then one of my favorite finds of the day, because it takes up less shelf space, this is the one-volume collection by Paul Scott, the Raj Quartet. All in one big volume, which I really, really like in this case. So let's see how they do it. We have The Jewel and the Crown, Day of the Scorpion, Towers of Silence, and The Division of Spoils. So it'd be nice to give this a reread, and it's really nice to have it just in a single volume. And then reconstituting this set, this is called The Hinges of History, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, The Hinges of History. This is Thomas Cahill, the author of How the Irish Saved Civilization, which was the first of these. This is The Gift of the Jews. I think there's one called Desire of the Everlasting Hills. There's another one, The Wine Dark Sea, about the Greeks. I know there's one about the Renaissance, and there might be a medieval one, medieval Europe. So I've got a few of them. I'm going to have to put them all together and see what I'm missing, but love to have it. Then this is one of those illustrated things. This is David Desches, James Boswell and His World. I'm a big fan of Boswell. I read London Journal a year or two ago, and obviously his Life of Johnson and all that. So this is illustrated. Just a nice little guide, something fun to read. And then the last thing here is The History of Printing in America, with a biography of printers and account of newspapers by Isaiah Thomas. This is a reprint of a much older volume. There are very few books of a historical nature which deserve republication after 160 years of existence. Isaiah Thompson's History of the Printing in America is one of them. So he's talking about printing. Excuse me. So he goes from Boston, Cambridge, New York, Philadelphia, Germantown, Newport. So my sort of thing. Nice condition. Who put this out? Weathervane Books was the republisher. It's edited by Marcus A. McCorson for the second edition. And this will be fun. This will be fun. It's something I didn't know about. So I am not even crazy enough to make a Steve pyramid, and I've had to stop the video 3 times, so we'll see how it comes out. But pretty good day, pretty good book haul, and we will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.